Hi, good evening. I'm Dina D'Ambrosi. Welcome to Delicious and Light. Tonight I'm going to be making for dinner a recipe I had done at deliciouslight.com. It's actually already posted on the website. It's a dish I made in 2010, so it's an oldie but a goodie. And it's something that's super quick, really easy, and you only make it in one pot. It looks like a lot of ingredients, but it's super easy to make. And so tonight we're going to be making pork loin in a Guinness BBQ sauce, and it's got a little bit of an Asian flair to it. We'll be using hoisin sauce. So just to tell you what I've got here before you get started, and it looks like I do this just for the videos, but I really don't. I like to set out all my ingredients in the beginning, because in the past I would cook, and as I'm cooking I'd realize I needed an ingredient or I'd forget an ingredient, so it's really easy to do this first. So we're starting with about 1 pound of pork tenderloin, and I like to use the tenderloin because it's great protein and it's very little in fat and it's tasty and it stays pretty moist. You're pretty good with that. So pork tenderloin is a nice cut of pork. With that, to build our sauce, is we're going to be using Guinness. Now if you don't have Guinness at home and you just have a stout, that's fine as well. So we're going to be using 12 ounces of that. This is a 14-ounce can, so 12 ounces is 1.5 cups. We're going to be using paprika, and it'll be a tablespoon of paprika, a quarter cup of hoisin sauce, 1 cup of diced tomatoes, quarter cup of brown sugar, and at the very end, to make the sauce thick, we're going to use 1 tablespoon of cornstarch in with 2 tablespoons of water, and we're going to be using 2 cloves of garlic. And that's it. So super easy. I'm going to get the pan started here just to warm up. So I'm going to leave it on like medium low so it doesn't get overheated. And I'm just going to lightly salt and pepper the pork loin on both sides. So let me get the tongs and flip this guy over. And lightly salt, lightly pepper. Unless you have a really good non-stick pan that you trust completely, I would suggest spraying your pan with some kind of cooking spray. So we're just going to spray this, add this on, and again, you can go to Delicious Light, get this recipe right on, so you don't have to write down all the ingredients. We're going to turn up the heat a little bit, and we're just going to brown this on either side. Now if you're in a crazy hurry, and I've done this before, where Dean's coming back and he'll be home from work in like 10 minutes, and I'm running crazy and I don't get a chance to let this cook for as long, I cut it into individual pieces and then I'll just brown it that way, and it makes the cooking time that much faster. So you just want to brown that on both sides. In the meantime, you can get your other ingredients ready. So we have a cup of diced tomatoes I'm going to get ready. So just take out a little bowl and have this go. Because once your meat starts to brown, everything's going to go pretty quick. Just get diced tomatoes, measure that out. I'll put that in a Tupperware, we'll use it later. Get a quarter cup of hoisin sauce, so I'll get that ready. And here's another little trick for you. I'm using the quarter cup measuring cup for the hoisin sauce, so I can't use it for the brown sugar as well. So if you take 4 tablespoons, that equals a quarter of a cup. So if you're in the same situation where you only have 1/4 cup and you want to measure your ingredients in advance, then just use 4 tablespoons. So we'll just measure that here. Another thing, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but sometimes brown sugar gets hard as a rock. I do a couple things. One is I use a little butterfly clip to seal it real well, and I put it also in a sealed Tupperware. But if it does ever happen to you, you could just put the brown sugar in the microwave for about 30 seconds and it softens up your brown sugar. So we've got that all measured out, and I hear the pork loin is starting to sizzle, which is good news. At least means the stovetop's working. Alright, so we're just going to get this browned. In the meantime, I've got my garlic, so I'm going to peel that, because as soon as that browns, we're just going to remove it from the pan and cover it to stay warm. It's not going to be cooked or anything. but we just want it browned at this point. Take the skin off of this clove and take the skin off of this clove of garlic. Ooh, this has a little bad spot. We'll just cut that right out. All good. And we'll just wait for our pork loin to just brown. I'm going to get out an piece of aluminum foil that we can put it on and cover it for when it's brown. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We are on Facebook, Delicious and Light, and we are also on YouTube. So if you like what you see in these videos, just follow us and you'll get notifications when a new video comes up. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Oh, probably another minute. Just starting to get going now. And I'll measure out our stout. Oh, a little bit of a volcano eruption. I don't drink a lot of beer, so I'm just taking a little by surprise. There we go. Clean that up. See, you may want to edit that one out. Feel free. It doesn't have to be fuzzy. In fact, we're just looking for flavor, so it's okay if the stout, if the foam goes down, if the head goes down. We're really just looking for the flavor, not so much the foam. And when the foam goes down, you might need to add a teeny bit more. All right, so our pork loin is lightly browned. So all we want to do here, and don't worry about it, it is not cooked, but you don't have to have it completely cooked at this point. So what we're going to do from here is I lowered the heat a little bit so the garlic doesn't burn too much. And we're just going to add the garlic to the pan. And we're just going to do a really quick fry on that. It's not going to take not even a minute. All you want to do is get your garlic in there and put it real super light browning, not anything to write home about. You don't have to wait on this much at all. Just stirring it around and kind of mixing it with the pork remnants. And then from there, you're just going to make your sauce. So what you want to do is add your stout, and if you have any pork that's stuck to the bottom of the pan, that's fantastic. You just want to scrape that off. You want all that good flavor in there. And we're going to add the 1 cup of diced tomatoes. We're going to add the brown sugar, and I'm keeping it on medium-low right now, just until I add all the ingredients. And you want to add your 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce. Just get a spatula so we get all of that. I don't know if you've ever tried hoisin sauce. You can find it in the Asian section of any grocery store. It's really good, but it's not something you want to eat plain. It's very flavorful. But something that when you add it to other ingredients, it's fantastic. And a tablespoon of paprika. I'm actually using sweet paprika. I think that would go best. So add that to it. And then you can turn the heat up and have it come to a boil. Once this comes to a boil, you just want to add the pork back in, and then you want it to simmer for about 20 minutes. And then at the very end, we're just going to add the cornstarch and water, and it'll thicken up the sauce. Also, when it comes to a boil, you want to taste it, see if you want to add anything. If you like a little heat, you could add some hot chili pepper in here. That's also in the Asian market, in the Asian section of the grocery store. I mean, you can also go to an Asian market if you happen to have one near you. So we'll just have this come up to a boil. Let's turn up the heat a little bit. All right, so we're at a point where we're at a boil. So I'm going to lower this because we're going to bring it down to a simmer, and I just want to taste it to see if I need anything. Now, my boys at home like heat, but I'm not as big of a hot as they are, so they can always add the heat later if they want. Very good. Delicious. I don't think it needs a thing. It's salted enough. And like I said, I'm going to pass on the heat. I'll let the guys do that if they want. So just add the pork loin back in when you're at that boiling point, and then bring it down to a simmer, cover it, and let it simmer for 20 minutes. And we'll just do the last step when 20 minutes is done. All right, so this pork loin has been simmering for about 20 minutes. So I'm just going to temporarily shut the heat off, take out the pork loin. And what I like to do to serve it is just cut it into individual slices. Now at this point, this is a good time to see if it has cooked enough. 20 minutes is more than enough time, and I may have gone a little bit under 20 minutes. So if that's the case, not a big deal. It's nice and tender. Just put the pork back in. So let's see how this is. So this needs probably another couple minutes. So I'm going to put it back in for another 5 minutes or so. Just let it continue to cook in the sauce for a few more minutes, and then we'll finish it off. See you in a few. All right, so it's been less than 5 minutes. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit. The pork is cooked, and all I'm going to do is take my sliced pork pieces and put them in here. Now, if you bought a pound of pork, it'll serve 4 people. This was a little bit more than a pound, so it's about 1.25 pounds, so it's going to serve 5 people. Generally speaking, you measure about, or you weigh about 4 ounces per person. So from here, we're going to thicken the sauce, and this is super easy, and you can do this with pretty much any sauce that you're making. Cornstarch and water is all it takes. The important part to cornstarch is that you're using cold water, not warm or hot water, otherwise it will not work. So this is 2 tablespoons of cold water with a tablespoon of cornstarch. And I'm just going to stir it in here first so it dissolves. And then from there, if you can see, I have a soft boil on the sauce in here. I'm just going to pour it in here and stir it around. And this is going to be instant thick sauce. It works out great. And if anybody's gluten-free, it's something that you can use to thicken sauces instead of using flour. So we're just going to cook this for a minute or two. Turn up the heat a teeny bit. It's going to get nice and thick. And that's it. And then the other thing we're going to be doing is you can serve this with rice. You can serve this with rice noodles, whatever you like. Tonight we're trying to keep it a little bit lower in carbs, so we're going to serve it with riced cauliflower. And so that's a really nice alternative to regular rice. And that's it. Our dinner is done. I just spoon this on top, and my family can serve themselves. I also want to mention that this segment is sponsored by Apex Nova, where we do a 2-week character education class for elementary schools, along with a event-based fundraising program. We do fun runs, we do remix parties, anything that the school likes. We like to serve our local community here in Northern Virginia. And that's it. Dinner done. Have a great night, everybody, and I'll see you next time.